All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today we're tracking the absolutely unbelievable rise of Lamine Yamal. I mean, we're looking at a player who hasn't just broken into professional soccer, right? He has completely shattered our entire understanding of what a young athlete is actually capable of achieving on the world stage. It's wild.
So I want you to take a second and really think back. What were you doing at 15 years old? Maybe stressing over a high school math test or just trying to get your learner's permit. Well, at exactly 15 years, 9 months, and 16 days old, Lamine Yamal was stepping onto the pitch to make his first team debut for FC Barcelona. He literally became the youngest player to appear for their first team in over a century. Honestly, it is so hard to even wrap your head around dealing with that level of pressure at that age.
And the sheer speed of his ascent is just staggering. Now, whenever we talk about Barcelona prodigies, we inevitably have to talk about Lionel Messi. Well, Messi received his first Ballon d'Or nomination at 20 years old. Lamine Yamal, he earned his at just 17. That completely broke the record for the youngest player ever nominated for the sport's biggest individual award. Oh, and then he followed that up by finishing as the runner-up for the 2025 Ballon d'Or at just 18. This really puts into perspective the magnitude of his early success. He isn't just following in the footsteps of legends, he is flat out running ahead of their timelines.
Let's move into part 1, the meaning of 304, grounding the superstar.
If you've ever watched Yamal score a goal, you have undoubtedly seen his famous celebration. He crosses his arms and uses his fingers to flash a very specific number to millions of fans all over the world. 304. It's a super iconic hand gesture now, but it's actually way more than just a cool pose.
That 304 actually represents the last 3 digits of the postcode for Rocafunda, which is 08304. That's a working-class neighborhood in Mataró, Catalonia, which is exactly where Yamal spent his formative years. So flashing this number is a direct homage to his upbringing and specifically to his paternal grandmother, Fatima. She migrated from Morocco to Spain in 1990 and really anchored the entire family through some immense financial hardships. She was the one managing his daily routine, making sure he could actually get to those early morning training sessions. By bringing 304 to the global stage, Yamal is bringing a massive amount of pride and recognition right back to his working-class community.
And that deep sense of family and community, well, it extends to his very identity. Yamal was born in Spain to a Moroccan father, Munir, and an Equatorial Guinean mother, Sheila. Even his name tells an incredible story of community support. He has a compound given name, Lamine Yamal, which actually honors 2 family friends who helped support his parents financially right before he was born. So he literally carries the gratitude of his parents with him every single time his name is announced in a stadium.
All right, let's look at part 2, inheriting Barcelona's number 10, the club ascension.
Let's just quickly walk through this rapid-fire timeline because, honestly, it reads almost like fiction. He makes his debut in 2023. A year later, boom, he wins the Copa Trophy for the best young player in the world. By 2025, playing under manager Hansi Flick, he's out there helping Barcelona secure a massive domestic treble and placing second in the Ballon d'Or. Then, he just casually signs a huge contract extension, inherits the legendary number 10 shirt, and scores his first career hat-trick wearing it by early 2026. Now, a torn hamstring did pause his 2026 season around April, but even with that injury, get this, he still finished the season as the club's top scorer. Unbelievable.
And when you look at the data, the statistics are just overwhelming. Look at this. He is the youngest La Liga scorer at 16 years and 87 days, the youngest Supercopa scorer at 16 years and 182 days, and, maybe most impressively, the youngest goal scorer in the entire history of El Clasico. That's the massive rivalry match against Real Madrid. He did that at just 17 years and 105 days old in a game where Barcelona won 4-0. I honestly have to constantly remind myself here, we are talking about a high school-age kid who is out there absolutely dominating professional veteran adults.
But hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. After Yamal scored a totally crucial goal in his 100th appearance for Barcelona, which was during a 2025 Champions League semi-final, rival Inter Milan manager Simone Inzaghi said it best. He flat out called Yamal a phenomenon born every 50 years. When the direct competition is looking at you with that kind of pure awe, you know for sure you are witnessing history.
Moving on to part 3, conquering the international stage, a global sensation.
Because his dominance on the international stage for the Spanish national team has been just as record-breaking. At Euro 2004, he wasn't just the youngest player to feature. No, he was the young player of the tournament, leading Spain right to the title. He became the youngest Euro goal scorer ever, with this stunning strike against France when he was only 16. He also tied a Spanish record by providing 4 assists in a single Euro tournament. And he didn't stop there. Fast forward a bit to the 2026 World Cup, and Yamal scores the opening goal against Saudi Arabia at 18 years old. That made him the youngest player to open scoring in a World Cup match since the legendary Pelé did it back in 1958. Just let that sink in for a second. The kid is matching stats set by Pelé.
Next up, Part 4. The player behind the records, cultural impact and activism.
Off the pitch, Yamal isn't just this record-breaking athlete anymore. He is really maturing into a highly visible cultural figure. Yamal, who's a practicing Muslim, has consistently used his massive platform to speak out. For example, during a friendly match between Spain and Egypt in March 2026, he publicly condemned anti-Muslim and xenophobic chants coming from the fans. He showed remarkable maturity there, stating that even though the chants weren't aimed at him personally, as a Muslim, it was a total lack of respect and just completely intolerable. Furthermore, in June 2026, he was officially named a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. In that role, he focuses specifically on children's right to play and supporting kids who are living in humanitarian emergencies. It paints a remarkably well-rounded portrait of a teenager who's using his fame to advocate for respect and global children's rights.
Now, because of his massive global platform, his actions naturally attract some intense international scrutiny. During Barcelona's La Liga title-winning parade in May 2026, Yamal waved a Palestinian flag. This sparked some highly polarizing global reactions. On one hand, his display of solidarity was heavily praised by many fans, pro-Palestinian activists, and politicians, including Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. On the flip side, the action drew sharp criticism from Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, and fact-checking organizations also reported that Yamal was subsequently targeted by online campaigns attempting to link the flag to terrorism. It really is a clear, textbook example of how every single action taken by a global superstar of his magnitude instantly becomes a major focal point for international discourse.
Which brings us to a rather incredible thought to wrap up this explainer. When you have literally conquered the world by age 18, what exactly is left to achieve? I mean, he's won a domestic treble, he's won the Euros, he's inherited Messi's iconic number 10, and he's matching World Cup records set by Pelé. The pressure of being a once-in-a-generation prodigy is immense, for sure, but so far, Lamine Yamal hasn't just survived the hype, he has completely rewritten the blueprint. We are watching the real-time evolution of a legend, and honestly, the most exciting part is that his career has only just begun.